Hi, Jacob.
He's an awesome guy. Boom-de-yada, 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 Jacob.
This is the stand-up comedian. Take this, go to this side. Grab the stool. So tonight I want to talk to us about something that I think we all have a responsibility for, and I thank Ian for talking about love, because I think Ian talked about love that we have for what we do, and I think we need to have share some of that love with the people we work with. And the people I work with, I'm a consultant, so my client relationships are about as obvious as the client relationships in the red light district of Amsterdam. But your client relationships may not be that obvious, but we have them. We all have people that we do work for. We all have people that we provide some expertise and some technical understanding that they might not have. And they sometimes ask questions that one might call stupid. I don't think so, but there are some websites out there that collect some of these questions. And I've been reading some of these websites for about the past 6 months. One of them is called Clients from Hell. You may be familiar. The quotes you're about to see are all from this website, and that's the attribution if you want to go out there and read it yourself. And some of them are genuinely hellish, and that they make me laugh. My favorite thus far in the past 6 months is this one, that's just wrong on all so many levels that a client would think that it's appropriate because they're lonely to call you and want to hang out. So there's lots of stuff like this on the site, but as I've been reading it, I've been noticing that there's lots of questions that aren't like this. There's lots of questions that are good questions. They may not be phrased elegantly, they may not use the right terminology, but they're good questions. They're questions like the one that's going to come up once it comes up, because I talked a little bit faster on that previous slide than I usually expected. And so this one shows something that makes a lot of sense. We want our site to feel trustworthy. The way they ask for it, probably not the best way, but it's a good question. And we shouldn't look at this because they can't phrase it right as a question that doesn't have merit. This is one of my favorites. Something like this comes up about every week. We invent words like Photoshop. When we invent a word and we don't define what it means, then it gets used in a way that is impossible. And that's our fault because we created it without explaining it. Or when we don't properly communicate expectations. And we know that you can't have a site on Google 5 minutes after you launch it and have how much traffic might find it. It doesn't matter. But this one is the one that I think shows the most what the problem is. There's no way that the client could think that you needed 2 websites unless somewhere along the lines the designer or the developer made them feel like, I have a Mac and I'm better than you because you have a PC. That's the only way that this quote, that something like this can happen. And what that shows is an emotion that can devastate relationships and is very much the opposite of love. It's contempt. And contempt is a powerful force that can drive a wedge between people. It's so powerful, in fact, anyone read Blink, Malcolm Gladwell? No, more people. Presenters, not so much people that are here. And there's a chapter in there about conversations between married people. There's a guy that observes and watches the emotions of those. And contempt was, if he saw contempt in a conversation, that indicated that marriage was in trouble. If contempt can break up that kind of relationship, what is it going to do to your relationships at work and with clients? And why is it a problem? Because you're speaking from a superior plane. We do know more about some things than the people we serve, but that doesn't mean that we need to speak to them and deal with them and work with them with contempt. So I think I've outlined the problem, and now we need to move to the prescription, which unfortunately is not more cowbell. I think it's easy. I think it's something we can do. I think there's a virtue and then a very practical thing that we need to do. And the virtue that we need to put into practice is patience. And we need to take the time to explain to the people that we serve, to the people that we work with, what we're doing. And take the time to walk them through it so that they can come along and be part of the process. And another way to make that easier and to make them be part of the process is something called patterns or a pattern language. Pattern languages were originally created around architecture in the 70s as a way for people to be able to participate and actually build their towns and build buildings. And one definition of what a pattern language is and what it does is that it's a tool that allows for beautiful, functional, and meaningful places. And I think that's what we're all out to do to work together. We want to build beautiful, meaningful, and functional experiences with technology. So if you're thinking, okay, this is interesting, but what does it look like? Yahoo has developed a pattern language for web design. If you search Yahoo pattern language, you'll come to it. It's a very good example for you to start getting your head around what it means to develop a pattern language as a way to communicate with people that may not have the vocabulary that you do. Again, my name is Jacob Wayne Smith. I'll be here for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to go out and get a beer. If you need me later, search that on your search engine of choice, and you'll find me. Thanks for your attention.